All right, guys, welcome back to game number two between PsychoSwarm and Clouded Minds. Clouded Minds have taken a game number one, and they are looking pretty good for game number two, as Braxis Holdout is their spicy pick here. So they won game number one, and they're now taking PsychoSwarms to Praxis Holdout, which was their map choice. So if I'm clouded or sorry, PsychoSwarm, I'd be a little concerned right now, largely because of the fact that you've lost the first game and you're now going to the playground of Clouded Minds. Now we're going to see Phoenix Ban per usual, but I wonder if we'll see Hanzo picked up here, because Hanzo could still do the boss relatively fast. He's still, and especially in the actual control points, excuse me, of Abraxas holdout, some really good scatter arrow positions, which means he can dish out a lot of damage. However, his Zerg wave clear is very mediocre. So we're going to actually see the garage band. They're respecting it. So we're going to see the garage band, which is a kind of a nice respect band. Cars and Guitars actually was hitting cues left and right and good throws. However, he was getting into some awkward positions at times. And at the same time, I'd say like half of his play was really good, and the other half of his play was questionable. So just fine tuning his tank play, particularly. I don't know how he plays on the rest of the heroes or rest of the tanks, but fine tuning those things like positioning will really turn Cars and Guitars into a really good tank player. So we're going to see Stukov picked up. It's almost like a Resident Sleeper, get out your pillow, Stukov first pick kind of deal. So Sonya is going to be the top lane side of Clouded Minds. I'd like if they picked up Hanzo to take it away from the side of PsychoSwarm. They're opting for the Lucio, which is played pretty well on Venus's part. So now you have a tank available to you, and what's actually interesting is that they first picked the Stukov, especially after they showed that they're willing to play Lucio inside of Clouded Minds. Now, I don't know if they also play Stukov, but I suppose you want to prevent them from opting for that. The Johanna is being picked up here, very high priority. Now, it's also because you may not want to be showing your next picks, and they're actually going for the Stukov. Now, or sorry, the Gul'dan's pick. The Gul'dan, the only problem is they showed the Gul'dan hand rather early. So you can go and pick up a Chromie, for instance, in the bot lane, or once again, you can go with a Hanzo to poke Gul'dan from range pretty safely. Now, you will not be able to siege into the Gul'dan with his Q and E, as he will just win that DPS race super hard, super fast. So right now, Clouded Minds has to opt for some heroes can punish them from range, and Hanzo can fit that bill, and he really good on the point control, like I mentioned, especially if you go and pick up his Giant Slayer. Well, a Giant Slayer against Johanna, like that's a lot of damage you'd be doing. Now, the Artanis is actually going to be the pick or the ban here, the side of Clouded Minds. I'm not quite sure why they opted for Artanis, if they know PsychoSwarm will play him, or if they're opting for a very melee heavy team that will consist of a lot of auto attack damage. If they are, well, it'll be interesting, because like I said, there's some higher priority heroes. The ETC is going to be next up on the chopping block, it looks like, And ETC as a band is pretty good. And especially Tiger played a really good ETC in general. Aside from his NA Mosh, his play was overall really solid. Nice slides, some good knockbacks. That's what you want to see out of your ETC. Now, for the side of Cloud in Mines, they still need a main tank. Now, ETC's gone, Garage is gone, Diablo's available, but right now they're not showing anything that's great for Diablo. He is great if he can use his QEQ on Johanna, though, once her Unstoppable is down, because Johanna's toughness really comes from her Iron Skin. Once that's down, all of a sudden a Diablo can chew through her HP pool. I'm getting some like confirmation that it's 105% likely that Tiger will actually be playing the Sonya this time around. As we saw last game, they had uh, a double front line with ETC and a noob. And what's this is really wild. We have Sonya and a noob and Malthael. So is Malthael going to be the solo laner, or is Sonya going to be the solo laner? Because I actually think now this is in perfect world, like pro level or high level HEC open team that I am more familiar with, like actually playing in that kind of scenarios, is that what would happen is that if they bring Sonya in the bot lane, if they bring Malthael into the bot lane, they're going to get bodied. I mean, really bodied. That gives Gul'dan more potential Echo Corruption stacks if he opts for that, which is come back into the meta. There was when he originally was in the meta, people opted for his E build. Then there was a brief moment in time they opted for his Q build, and now they've gone back to his E build. But either which way, the front line will not be able to go in siege, because Gul'dan will just hit him with Qs, hit him with Qs, hit him with Qs, hit him with an E. That QQE, then drain him a little bit. So Ragnaros will actually be in the top lane against either Sonya or Malthael. It's almost interesting, like they decided we're gonna just take away the options. In fact, like they could theoretically do something really cheeky and say we're gonna go and have a 2-3 split, but I don't know how their 2-3 split would actually work at this point for the side of Cloud and Mines. Now, the Ragnaros, great clear. Gul'dan, great clear. Tychus, good clear. So the side of PsychoSwarm has clear in every which way. They're not lacking for clear or hurting for it at all. So here's the Chromie to try and punish the Gul'dan that I sort of mentioned before, where they could opt for the Chromie to be able to poke down Gul'dan from range, from safety. But they'll never be able to siege. Chromie has weak siege. Malthael has weak siege. So your sieging is really going to come down to Sonya and Nub. I almost feel like PsychoSwarm has this ready to go just because of the fact that this is a very odd comp coming out from Clouded Minds. Basically, two solo laners, the same comp, Chromie, which makes sense to me, but I don't think the Malthael and the Sonya make sense. It looks like if the Great Hari is their solo laner, then they'll opt for having the Great Hari play the top lane. If he isn't their solo laner, well, he is going to be bot lane, which is not what I'm expecting at this point. So we are going to see the Echoed Corruption, Rubian. We're going to see the Pressed Advantage. We got the Time Walker's Pursuit. We move together. So let's introduce these two teams again. We have Cujo on that Ragnaros, Cars and Guitars on the Johanna, Cheese Sticks on the Gul'dan. We got Yuskazuva, or however you're supposed to pronounce that, on the Stukov. And we got Magic Walrus in the top lane on Tychus. So what's actually really spicy about this is that Tychus could get tons of stacks because of the melee of Tigerfish, who is going to be on Sonya. So Cloud and Mines have Tigerfish on that Sonya. We have Anubarak as Star Knight, the Great Hari as Malthael, Venus as Lucio once again, Swing as the Chromie, and we are having a bit of a lag. So now that the lag spike has disappeared, let's get on with it. So the one thing that is unfortunate for Star Knight is that I feel a nub is not very high value against someone like a Cheese Sticks. Cheese Sticks goes through his beetles, he's sustained magic damage, and his corruption is absolutely brutal. So since it does damage over time, it's going to be much lower value. And what's actually wild about this comp is that Cujo is in the bot lane instead of Tychus. And that's something I wouldn't have expected, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. There comes a lot of damage from Chromie. So let's take a look at some of these stacks at this point. 12 stacks of Echoed Corruption, 5 on the side of Chromie. We also have on a Pale Horse for some, some rotation advantage there. Star Knight getting on the point first, but it's not really going to matter. A lot of damage out coming from that corruption, and on top of that, the silence forcing away Cloud and Mines. So they got one of these, but they don't have two of these. Magic Walrus almost going down in the top lane, having to tap, but I think this actually goes into their favor much more as time goes on. Cujo getting rather low there, but they do poke out Star Knight with a ton of their own damage. Cards and Guitars getting back on the point. Cujo has now tapped, and so they are now ready for action. Malthael ready to be able to go onto Cheese Sticks, but he is not going to make the turn. Star Knight all alone poking away, and the split from PsychoSwarm as if they read the mind of Chromie. Cards and Guitars is taking a lot of damage though, but the counter damage from that Echoed Corruption and Q is enough to really whittle down their health pools. Unfortunately, the health pools of PsychoSwarm is significantly lower. So taking a look at the rest of this, we actually have Engulfing Flame coming out here. Now this actually makes a lot of sense because there's 3 melee on the side of Cloud and Mine. You don't typically see this build. It's a build that starts really slow. So we got Slow Burn coming on out now. We have the Bigger They Are, which is a great choice here. And there's the damage coming on out. Once Echoed Corruption finishes, this is going to be a completely different game, I feel like. Star Knight burrowing back out, but into the loving arms of the side of PsychoSwarm, but they will not be able to actually secure. Oh, they do secure the kill. Okay, Gul'dan's corruption still ticks through. He doesn't have anything else, but it still managed to tick through. I did not see him get low enough, but the shield didn't last long enough to absorb enough damage. At this point, 48% has been picked up on the control beacon, and like I said, this is, I feel, the game for PsychoSwarm in general. I don't know how I feel though with the blast shield, because Q build would have been, I feel, overall better still. He hits a Q, he hits more sustain, and well, he chunks them, especially if he gets the increased damage, percent damage with the Q build. And there's 3 melee heroes. There's a pull, the Condemned chunking them down super heavily, a decent silence, but Stukov is super far forward. The Great Hari is super low, but he's going to be able to mount on up, walk away. Cujo himself now super low. There's Stukov getting off his healing. They need to bounce that around, so maximize that value. And once again, they're back in there. So the problem with not choosing the Q build is that he has no self-sustain. His shields aren't really self-sustained. They sustain you through a fight, but he can't heal up. And now Cheese Sticks has completed Echoed Corruption. This is ultra scary right now. Like, how are you going to beat this when you've already been getting chunked down without Echoed Corruption being online? On the other side, we got Tigerfish sitting in this bush, and well, looking for a spicy kill here with a Q on in. So if Magic Walrus misplays this, he's going down. But he's in the wave, he's okay, and takes nearly no damage there. In the meantime, we're actually going to get Ragnaros rotating up because of that Echo Corruption, I feel like. Cheesesteaks dropping down a big old Echo Corruption. Star Knight takes a ton of damage. And welcome to Gank City, Tiger, because you're on the menu tonight. They now have this taken away. They're down a member, but they also have 2 in the top lane, which means that they can collapse in as 4. A massive corruption coming on in, hitting multiple members of Clouded Minds. But say goodnight to Cheese Sticks. He's being warmed up for dinner, and he is tasting mighty good. And this is now evened out pretty much this control point. They pick up the Mercamp in the meantime. They don't have the Gul'dan, which is what I said was literally their scary part. I don't know why Stukov is walking on out, and they're losing the beacon at this point. They have Cujo back on the point. He's fighting for his life right now, and it's not going to be good enough without the rest of the talents actually. Oh no, Stukov. Poor Stukov has gone down. This is not what you want. You have your cheese sticks back. He's come out of the oven, ready to go, and you don't have your Stukov. Star Knight burrows on in, misses it, misses the shade from the Great Hari. It's not the end of the world, as the wave was 52% on the side of PsychoSwarm, and so now's the opportunity to push in. But they also have Gul'dan. Gul'dan has great clear, and Tigerfish is here. He's eating almost all of those stacks of corruption, getting chunked down to 50% health, and they are still chasing on in. 1 shield will be enough. No, there's no mana on the side of Fujo. No mana means no kill, so unfortunately they're gonna have to let her walk away. And this Zerg wave accomplished pretty much nothing in the meantime. So Magic Walrus is gonna have to make some magic happen if he's gonna hope to stop 4 members of Cloud and Mind from, having their way with this spot lane. The rotation is coming on down. They have a 4-man rotation. Great Hari is starting to get chunked a little bit from that minigun. It's not going to be too much. So they're back in action. Sonya's starting this camp. And, well, they are now starting their own camp. They're a little behind PsychoSwarm. They should be able to pick this up relatively easy. They have Johanna providing vision. And they do have a creep wave coming on in simultaneously. However, they don't have anyone here to support it. So this is a free clear on the side of Clouded Minds. This is a traditional mistake most teams make, which is we get camps, get merc camps. Well, what is your merc camp doing? Nothing, because it's getting cleared for free. It's delaying, but if that's why you're getting the camp is to delay, well, you're not getting a lot of value out of them. In top lane, however, we now have Magic Walrus coming on into Tigerfish, but Cujo is not there at all. And so they're going to just walk away. We have some Chinese bush gank going on here. They're not really going to get... Oh, they're going to get a Cheese Sticks. So Cheese Stick and beautiful Fear in Silence, forcing the team back. There's the cocoon, and they're actually cocooning the kill target, not the target you wanted to cocoon. Cheese Sticks will be out really shortly. They don't land the combo between... Odin has now been popped out. Odin coming out too late, in my opinion. They should have held that Odin because the fight was already over. No one goes down. A lot of heroics are down right now. Odin is down. There's no way to fight that appropriately. And in the meantime, we got Cujo with that lava wave now. So he should be able to hold up okay. He has blistering attacks. He has a very weird build for Ragnaros. We're going to leave it at that. So point control is happening right now. But oh my god, the corruption damage. The Great Hari is on an island right now, and they're trying to take advantage of this. There needs to be some blessed shielding happening right now. There's the pull. Echoed corruption. Oh my god. He's chunking through the entire team. Cheese Sticks is turning Clouded Minds into his own form of delectable appetizer. I guess Clouded Minds are going to be turned into pigs in a blanket for him. But unfortunately, Tigerfish goes fishing for a wild Ragnaros and catches him. So they got 56%. They're down in a nub. So what do? You have a Gul'dan. Siege this front wall. They're starting to get on it. They're not sieging it appropriately, as you saw. They missed all the damage on the towers, but they'll be okay. They can siege through this. They have a Johanna, and Chromie is not going to be able to really do much here. And let's check out. We also have the Bound by Shadow. Bound by Shadow is one of those talents that's interesting. You don't see it actually picked up that often by higher level players. The reason for that is that Echo Corruption with Hunger for Power. Oh, the last rights do not secure the kill. There is the save on Stukov with that flailing swipe, but it won't be enough. There comes a sound barrier rather late, but they should be able to get themselves a wild Gul'dan out of this. Gul'dan gets absolutely annihilated. There once was a Gul'dan, and now there is no more Gul'dan. Sad day for cheese sticks. They've been devoured. So, camp is being watched. They can't really fight this, so I don't know why they're here. In fact, they should be turning onto Cujo right now, as they have multiple members. They have a wave there, allowing them to dive. Stukov taking a lot of damage, and well, this is going to be a free for. Ragnaros actually going on in. They missed the burrow. This is the time to kill him. Where's the Q? There's the Q on to Star Knight, but it's not going to be enough. Odin has been popped. Odin has been popped a little too late, but they'll be able to clear this up between the Odin and the lava wave really easily. Additionally, they have Gul'dan here. However, Johanna's been chunked, but it's not going to be good. The last rights, still no stacks there. Echoed Corruption coming on out, chunking through the wave, but it's not hitting any members of PsychoSwarm. Great Hari's all alone. He has absolutely no mana. Can they kill him? And down they go. Very nice Stukov flail as it splits up the team to some degree, and well, they might actually save this fort. This fort has been saved. Magic Walrus all alone. Very nice Nub Impale as they're now trying to turn onto him, but they will not be able to get anything more on the side of PsychoSwarm. In the meantime, Tigerfish has been doing a number, soaking up the waves, pushing on in, and fortunately, there was no Tiger there, so it was essentially a 5v4 situation. Tiger needs to collapse into those fights to really ensure that his team wins. He's already pushed in far enough that he's not really getting enough value from just sitting there and pushing in. He'd be better rotating on down and joining the team fight. So, PsychoSwarm looking for the gank. They're coming on in. There's the blind. There's the pull. There's the damage. Where's the blessed shield? Tigerfish about to go down. And there he goes. There comes the Nub Cocoon. There comes the Stukov getting taken out of the fight. But Cujo is going to walk away. The sound barrier comes out a little too late. And the Chromie is also down for the count. PsychoSwarm has found themselves an opportunity to go and do the boss. They can also have themselves a beacon phase in relative peace if it starts soon. It looks like it's actually not going to start soon enough, but they'll be able to get themselves a boss. In the meantime, Star Knight really needs to back off because he doesn't have a Chromie, he doesn't have his Sonya, and it's going to go down soon enough. Are they going to? They're actually trying to fight this right now. There's the flail. Disengage, but Great Hari's taking a load of damage there. Oh my god, that silence on top of that. They now need to back out of this. Cheese Sticks is okay. Johanna manages to survive, and they walk away, chunking the Great Hari, and on the other side, chunking cars and guitars. With the beacons becoming active, PsychoSwarm is now going to opt to push up. They can hit 16 here and have a very, very favorable fight. A Nub all alone right now. He does have the burrow available. He does get on out. And Tychus does pop on out of that, and they are now pushing on in with this boss. They have 16 coming online very shortly. They stick around. They take down this fort. They will be able to push in as 5. The Great Hari taking a lot of damage there. Once again, Echo Corruption getting so much value. Cujo, though, all alone, and they really need to turn. The Great Hari's eating the boss like he himself is a tank, and 16s have come online. Oh no, the Great Hari, can he survive this? Oh, sound barrier having to be used. Cocoon has been used on a Cujo, who's been caught there. Johanna and Magic Walrus going for that kill on Tigerfish. I don't know if it's actually going to be good. Cujo is up and fine. Cheese Sticks and Stukov, but it is a 4v3. They need to back on out. They can run him down though right now. There's a stun. Can we see the follow-up? There's the follow-up stun combo. Oh my god. Weenus super low, and we see Malthael go down as well. So this is PsychoSwarm's game right here. They're chasing after Swing. The rotation, I'm not sure where Johanna was um, during that. They can grab the camp, which looks like they're doing. And on the side of Clouded Mines, they really just need to get 16s and then go in as a group, because that's the only way to ensure that they at least get one of these beacons. They could always have someone sneak off in a fight, and because they have Lucio, they can play Ring Around the Rosie much faster. However, PsychoSwarm is making a ballsy move here, going for the camp, and they can actually start this fight off as not all 5 members are here. There comes the Odin. This is a really nice Odin. There's the sun. There's the sun. A nub is gone. Gul'dan, however, gets trapped in there, but Tigerfish and Star Knight are both absolutely chunked out. And with this 100% Zerg wave, this is going to be really scary right now. We're going to see them push on in onto this keep relatively easily as members of PsychoSwarm have a full Zerg wave backing up. Tigerfish all alone on an island, a beautiful silence. The corruption putting out extra pressure, and this is going to be a keep almost assuredly. If Ragnaros jumps in that bad boy, and they could potentially end it right here. There comes the sound barrier, ensuring the damage is not coming out. Q onto Weenus. Weenus is not going to be in time. Weenus is pretty low, and they will now start the core assault. Swing is low. The Great Hari is low. He is getting down, and they have turned their attention to him. The last rites will not be good enough, and the core is falling really rapidly. The flailing swipe is preventing them from doing anything, and PsychoSwarm has taken game number 2 with a very nice turnaround from a few kills. They snowball it back, turn it around, and get that 6.5 out of 10 comeback. So this game has been split between the two, and the series has been split between the two, cheese sticks, PsychoSwarm and Clouded Minds each take a game of their own. And I gotta say, it was impressive from both teams. That game, I feel like they honestly were going to lose. They drafted themselves into a hole. Like, let's take a look at this DPS. Gul'dan 66k, Tychus 52k. They out DPS'd the Chromie. Ragnaros 40k, out DPS the Malthael. Johanna out DPS the Sonya in this game. So they had no way of keeping up ultimately. Their DPS was way behind. The comp was not very good. It was a crazy comp that was wild and kind of showed. There was a lot of back and forth in the beginning, but once Echoed Corruption came on, it was absolutely insane. Echoed Corruption pretty much won that game, and they took so many corruption stacks early in the game that it just became a really quick and easy way to swing it. They got Cheese Sticks several times. You'll see that he's actually one who died the most on the side of PsychoSwarm. However, it wasn't good enough because with Tychus there, with the bigger they are, just melting through, and eventually that's the stuff to heal them up. You know, that's a lot of damage. Titan Grenade, Ruinous Affliction. All these tools are absolutely insane. Then we had the Lingering Spine, so Lurking Arms, it lasts another 1.5 seconds even after he cancels. It's super brutal for the side of Clouded Minds to have dealt with this comp any form or fashion. Shed Exoskeleton, very interesting choice here. I've never picked it once as a tank, and I'm a tank main. I always pick either the Impale or the extra burrow range. Those are, to me, the only two choices you have. And I'm actually, there were plenty of times that Clouded Minds could take kills but weren't able to. That 4v3 was questionable, but it wasn't. They were in a man advantage, but the reason it was questionable was because he had some low health heroes too. So they were trying to use their numerical advantage. But what you actually need to do is look at it as kind of a combination of all heroes' HPs. And you add them up essentially like, do these three heroes have more HP than these four heroes? If yes, your four man should not be fighting into their three man because ultimately you're going to have to blow them up before they blow up one of your low HP heroes. And especially if they have cooldowns available. And let's say they had a Jaina. Jaina just turns on you and blows up, and all of a sudden, down you go. So, just taking a look at the rest here, we have the Poison Spear, Mystical Spear, Steel. I think Clouded Minds had the potential to win this, but PsychoSwarm just scales. They scale really hard. Basically, when you hit that 16 Ruinous Affliction, and then the 16 versus 15 kind of fight, uh, all of those, when they picked up the boss, got themselves in position to fight, really was a rough spot. At the same time, rotation from PsychoSwarm to not have their full 5-man pressure Cloud in Minds with their 16 advantage was also really strange. When I say strange, it's silly. Basically, if you're not the phrase I always use, if you're not playing to win, you're playing to lose. And that was a play of not playing to win, in my opinion. And that's because you're not trying to abuse your advantage. A 2v1 is good, but it offers them the opportunity to fight even down to talent 4 versus 3. And they can take that trade and potentially get more kills because, well, if there's 3 people there, kill 3 people and it becomes now a 2 versus 4 ultimately. So I'm not a very big fan of that. Nonetheless, and they made it work. They got themselves kills, and at that point, it was essentially GG. So hats off to PsychoSwarm and hats off to Cloud Minds. Both showed a lot of promise in their games. Obviously, this isn't Division A or heroic difficulty. This means that these teams obviously have more things they can work on to improve, and so hopefully they'll find those things they need to improve either based off this cast or based off of their scrims if they do scrim and work on those things because they all have the potential to be a heroic difficulty team. And like I said, in the first game, Cars and Guitars looked fantastic with Garage in terms of his pros and his Qs and with Groundbreaker. Some of these were slightly strange, but somewhat understandable. Like, this is a little bit of a trap talent because you're so slow as a Johanna, like that you're not going to get much value out of it. Blessed Hammer, I personally absolutely hate Blessed Hammer. I think it's worst possible talent to pick here. And then Holy Renewal is fine. I think Sins Exposed is okay in very specific circumstances, and I don't think this was a circumstance that really warranted it either. Um, Bound by Shadow, a lot of people take Hunger for Power, dead, just to get that extra 15% damage output, and because you'll get higher burst, long-term DPS, uh, often than getting the 1 second cooldown each time you hit someone with Fell Flame, especially since you have to be close enough to hit them with that Fell Flame. Health Zone, perfectly good. This was a really weird build. It comes online when you hit 13. If you don't hit 13, that's part of the reason it's so hard, is that you have to hit 13 for this to come online. And then the 16 Blast Echo, basically this is where the whole Engulfing Flame build, if you will, works. If you kind of lose early game because it's such an inferior build, but you win the late game because of how well it works late game. And against their comp, it works very well. The Q build, I think, is still the safer way to go, especially against all these people. He can get multiple Qs, cooldown reduction, the uh, HP damage over time on them. So it just like seems like a win-win against their comp to go Q. It has better early game. It has HP damage, so forth and so on. I would have gone with the root in here because there were several times where a nub just walked away. I felt like either they caught him out and they couldn't kill him because then he just burrowed away at that point. So let's see. Anything else out of the ordinary? I believe Up the Frequency is still actually Up the Frequency was a very bad choice in place of Rejuvenencia, however you say it, because they nerfed Up the Frequency, and with a team with a Sonya and a Nub, if I remember the actual math, the math says Rejuve is more effective. It's also more effective when dealing with Burst, and obviously Up the Frequency is good for dealing with a lot of sustained consistent damage, but Rejuve with a team of 3 melee just seems like it gets more value overall, especially with the double frontline actual warriors. So that's probably something I changed there. Something I changed is the Shed Exoskeleton. We have the Black Harvest. I don't think people play Black Harvest very often anymore. We have the Touch of Death being picked up here, which I don't think this makes sense without Tormented Souls. But the problem is they don't have a lot of people to group up with a Tormented Souls anyways. But you need that in order to make Glass Rights truly work. Glass Rights didn't really get that much value. They almost got the kill on Stukov, but Stukov just managed to survive that. And the Memento Mori and the Soul Siphon. Yeah, aside from that, no, both teams, like I said, have some things to work on, but they definitely showed a lot of promise. I've been your shoutcaster tonight, Akuma. Obviously, if you're watching, you should know that. You can check me out on Twitter. I'm sometimes on there, sometimes not super active. You can also check out my YouTube, which is also Akuma, and I'll occasionally take some nice like video highlights. Eventually, once Heroes of the Dorm is done, I'll probably make my RIT analysis videos public. In case you didn't know, I'm the analyst for RIT's Heroes of the Dorm esports team. So you can check them out this Thursday. They're facing UNT, and it should hopefully be a good series. Hopefully I've been providing them with enough analysis to improve their gameplay before they face some really good opponents. So once again, I'm Akuma. Thanks for watching. I hope you hit follow, and even more important than hitting follow is I hope you come back to my other cast. One of the things that I believe differentiates me compared to a lot of other casters is I've played this game at a competitive level